Happy birthday to Steven. Happy birthday to Steven. Happy birthday to Steven. Happy birthday. You're not on the show today. That's right. Today is Thursday, July 24th, 2025, and it is Steven's birthday. And he's not going to be on the show today, as I mentioned when I asked for questions for RAWtalk. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to RAWtalk, that you're not going to get a lot of value, because there's a lot of value coming up in this week's episode. I've got my normal things to catch up on, what I've been doing, some of the Sony updates on the RX1R III, talk about shooting a Civil War reenactment with my 4x5, and then we get to your questions and I give you some answers. Now, there were so many questions that I feel like I'm going to need to do a follow-up episode with more Q's to the A's so that I can make sure I get as many of your questions answered. So maybe I'll just do another episode and bank that for when Steven is on vacation in August. And we'll have to figure out what to do. I don't know if we'll do a show while he's away. I don't remember if we did that last year when he went to Tennessee. I thought, Tennessee? Take me to another place. Take me to another town. I think we may have done one last year when he was away, but I don't recall. Anyway, welcome to RAWtalk episode number 161, where I'm taking it all on my own, taking it straight there on my own. But I do prefer having Steven on so he can counter some of these things and also give some of his input onto these questions. But it is what it is. The reason that Steven is not here today, it's not because of his birthday. He is coming into the studio as we speak. I'm recording this at 8:39 in the AM. It's currently right now. It's that we are under the gun to get this Sony RX1R III video done. And normally we wouldn't, it's not saying we are rushing to get it done. We are moving quickly to get what we need to do with the camera done because Sony wants it back. They want it back. Like, I didn't get the camera. It didn't land until Saturday, but I wasn't around Saturday to accept it. So it went to my holding facility, and the holding facility people weren't open till Monday. So I got it Monday and took it to the Phillies game and took it around and used it as a street style camera. And they need it back by the 28th, which means I need to ship it back Friday. So there's very little time, and it's not just me. They're putting everybody under these constraints. And I will say that this is a hell of a lot different than it used to be with Sony. Sony used to get in touch with us like 3 weeks in advance and be like, we've got this new camera or lens for you to play with, and take your time and go ahead and use it. But now they're like, we have a hard back needed at 4 days. 4 days. That's right. That's what we need. 4 days, and then you have to send it back. And we're like, all right, or else what? And then they threaten you, and they're like, if you don't do it, you're never going to get any more gear from us. I'm still waiting for that time. It's going to happen. I'm sure they'll get to a point where they're like, we don't want to give you gear anymore because of X, Y, and Z. And it's like, oh, okay. I don't want to just be the gear review guy. I'm the guy like shooting Big Bertha and 4x5s and shooting actual things in the real world, concerts and sports and meaningful things and politicians and figures. Like, that means more to me than just reviewing gear. But I also know that I feel like there's very few people in the industry that actually are photographers who so happen to review gear. There's a lot of people who are YouTubers who review gear. I'm a photographer who reviews gear because that's just how I see myself. And I feel that I have an obligation to, one of the reasons I started was someone reviewed an 18 to 200 millimeter Nikon back in the day and said that it was better to have than the 70 to 200 2.8. And I was like, that is just false, terrible information. That's 16 years ago. And at that point I decided, I've got a camera. I can shoot video. I have an opinion. I think I know what I'm talking about. And I started making videos because I thought that person was doing a disservice to the industry. And I don't want to do a disservice. I want people to make informed decisions. And that's why I have opinions. And that's why I'll tell you I don't like something. And that's why I'll tell you I do like something. Yeah, we have to be careful. We don't want the companies to be like, you only say negative stuff, and then they don't want to send you stuff. But if there's only negative stuff to say, which is very rare that it's only negative stuff, then I just got a train of thought I lost right there. Yeah, if they only want you to say positive things, it's not going to happen, and I'm not your guy. But I have ways of getting gear. It might take longer to get gear if you're not getting it from the companies, but I think that there's always a way to do it, and there's always the ace in the hole, which is a B&H, and Brandon at Alan's Camera. Brandon helps a lot. B&H on things that Brandon doesn't have is super helpful. I'm like, hey, can you send this scanner for me to play with? And they're like, yep, and it's there tomorrow. I'm like, hey, I need to try this. They're like, yep, hold on to it. And then they send an RMA and we send it back. Anyway, we've got that work to do today. Steven and I are filming after I'm done this RAWtalk. And yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back, and we appreciate you guys listening, but there is a ton of information to come out here that I'll be going into. So moving on, there is one spot left for the Fronos Photo Bootcamp on August 16th, which is a Saturday, 2025, right here in Philly. That means, like, I think 5 moved since last week, and I didn't push. I just think it takes time for people to figure out that they can make it happen, or all the pieces of the puzzle align. So there is one spot currently at recording this, and it's you can go to bit.ly/FroCamp816 to try and lock in the last spot. If it is not there, I guess you can send me an email to support@fronosphoto.com to say you want to be on the wait list, because there would only be 18 spots. Oh, and my dad wants to come to the boot camp, by the way. So my dad's going to be coming to the boot camp because he wants to learn. And I'm going to go there tomorrow, Friday, to his house and sit down with him with a EOS R and some lenses to try and help him out. Well, to start his journey. We'll see how that goes. That would be an incredible video if we were to go ahead and film something along those lines. That would be pretty cool. So moving on, Steven and I went on Saturday and photographed the Civil War, the actual Civil War in 1856 or 63. It wasn't the actual one. It was a reenactment. I went last year and photographed them. You might notice, I believe it was the Canon 35-1.4 video, and it was an 85-1.4 Sony lens review as well that I did at the Civil War reenactment. It was fantastic. This year, Steven's like, let's go film a video there, take the 4x5, and we spent four-ish plus hours out there photographing different people. I mean, I was really honed in on Ira, who was the guy that was my contact last year. Very nice guy. And we have a whole bunch of portraits with him. We're going to put this together in a video and share the images. I haven't shared anything just yet, but I got some really good stuff. And then I had a really tough learning lesson that I have to take with me. And I didn't fully fuck something. Well, let's just say the group pictures of the, say, 30, the regiment on the field, the battlefield, that I did the wide shot of them, I did it with a tilt on the 4x5, which makes it harder to focus. And what ended up happening is some people are in focus on the left and the right, but the middle is completely out. The short of it is I should have just shot it flat. And also there was regular patrons watching in the background who end up being in focus because of the slit that a tilt shift does, puts more stuff in focus from front to back. So stupid thinking on my part. Should have just shot it flat, meaning no tilt, which would have given me a better opportunity to shoot maybe at a slightly higher aperture to then get the 2 lines of the regiment in focus. I fucked it up. So I'm going to have to make up for that at some point in the future, but it's just a learning thing, not to get too creative all the time, but the tilt really only works when you're elevated up high, and it shouldn't really be used down low when it comes to group shots or portraits. Lesson fucking learned. Very upsetting, though. Not happy about it. Not happy about when I'm scanning those negatives and I'm seeing this happen, and I'm like, shit, why are these 3 people focused on the left and these 3 focused on the right, and in the middle, not good. The people are still going to love the images, and I'm also tired of hearing people say, but Jared, you got to understand, you're using old tech, and it's all right if it's not perfect. I'm like, yeah, but it can be. So the closer to focus, the closer to sharpness that it can be, the happier I'm going to be. That's the challenge I set for myself. Just because it's okay that it's not perfectly sharp is like, I don't like that. I know it's usable, and when you zoom in, it's going to be more prevalent when it's out of focus or not tack sharp, like it's back, like you run into back focus from time to time. And you'll see this with a really tight portrait that it missed, and it's slightly on his cheek and his ear, not his eye. But on the next picture that I scanned of the same portrait that I did, he is, oh my God, it's the sharpest thing I've ever seen. I don't understand how it happened. All the pieces aligned. He must have not moved, or he did move and he fell in the right place, and I might not have moved, but fell in the right place. Like, you'll just have to see it to believe it. It is incredibly insane, and I have to send the guy the photos. So let me make a note. Anyway, the Civil War thing turned out really well. Steven filmed it. We have my forehead camera. We have a 360 camera. We'll see how it turns out. Not sure when it's going to come out or when I'll put those photos up, but I probably will start sharing some of those soon. Okay. Oh God, when I talk a lot, I realize why I get tired, because I'm getting a lack of oxygen. Breathe. Breathe in and hold. All right. Let's get to your questions that were submitted via the text line, 313-710-9729, and also some people submitted them over Facebook. I will say that 10 times as many people submitted over, well, not 250, but because there were only 25 on Facebook, but more people did it via the text line, which is the place where I like to grab them from, and it's an easier place for me to interact with because there's only 23 or 2,400 people on that. So it's 313-710-9729. That is the best place to do that. So let's jump into these questions. I have a good number of questions to get to. And like I said, there's all those extra questions that I will probably just bank and go ahead and make a separate podcast just so that we have them from time to time. So here we go. We got Patrick Ryan. Hi, Fro. Have been using Canon DSLRs for the last 3 years. Going to upgrade to mirrorless soon. Look at the R6 a lot lately. Would I be better off waiting until the Mark III to be released? I'm mainly shooting sports/wildlife and odd portrait, or would the Mark II do the job? Thanks, man, and keep doing what you do. The hard part is we don't know when an R6 Mark III is coming. I'm assuming you mean an R6 Mark II when you say R6, but if you are referring to the original R6, the R6 Mark II is a better camera. The R6 is fantastic, but the R6 Mark II has a lot of fantastic features. I always say invest in glass more so than investing in bodies. Obviously, you need to jump into the world of mirrorless if that's what you're looking to do from the DSLR. But remember, if you have good glass on DSLRs, you can adapt it for mirrorless and basically have it be seamless and work well. At this point, I personally would wait for an R6 Mark III because we're at that point. But if you decide that the R6 Mark III isn't for you at the time that it comes out, I would look at a refurb unit on Canon's website. I don't even know if they have, let's take Canon refurb cameras. Let's take a look at Canon refurb cameras on their website. They have a refurb store, which is what I highly recommend people check out all the time. Refurbished R5 Mark II is $35.99. So that's, I don't know, the new price went up to like $4,000. What else do we have here? R50, R100, R10s, R10s, R7s, R7s, R8 used. Let me see if I'll load more, see if there's any R6s. Refurbished R, no. RP, R8, $1,259 for the R8. Here's an R6 body for $1,600. That's an R6 one. An R6 Mark II body for only $1,800, which isn't bad at all. Canon R6 Mark II. Let's see what it is new. So $1,800 for that. And Shop Canon has $2,000. Huh. So what did I say it was? $1,699? So it's not that much. No, it's not much of a savings right now for the refurb. I would just wait personally. It's possible that when the R6 Mark IIIs come out, it might be a good time to get an R6 Mark II, but I still like buying the latest and the greatest. If it's a couple $100 more, I rather have the latest tech, because when you do decide to sell it possibly in the future, you're going to get the most out of it. Whereas if you had an R6 or an R6 Mark II, it's already lost almost all of its value. And by the time you sell it in a couple years, you end up losing a lot of money. That people always ask, Jared, how were you able to have the D3 and the D2X and the D3 and the D3S, D4, D4S, D5? Well, as soon as the D3S got announced and landed, I would sell my D3. I would sell it so that I could get the most amount of money that I would ever get for it when the new camera was announced. And I would take the couple $1,000s from that camera and roll it into the new camera, meaning I just upgraded for a couple $1,000s, but didn't have to spend $4,000 or $5,000 And that's the way that I was able to do it. Because if you buy a new camera and then you use it for like 5-6 years, yeah, if you're making money with it, that's a great thing. But if you're not making it, then yeah, having it longer is fine if you're not generating revenue. But when you're making money, I don't want to have a camera for 5 or 6 years and then have it lose all its value and then have to start all over, especially if the new tech can help me. All right, I don't want to take too much time there, but I would personally wait right now. Bengt Sandberg, Bengt. I don't know. That's their name. It's on Facebook. So what can AI do for camera manufacturers? Most cameras are nowadays already on steroids and technologies. Most cameras these days are already on steroids and technology. AI cannot hold the camera or compose the photos in the way AI writes fake music, which is true. If it goes too far, will the market kill itself because hobby photographers will lose interest and stop buying? High-end hi-fi will still survive because it is a reality, but a lot of the industry seems to follow the Gen Z's footsteps to just live in a fake bubble thinking an app can solve their problems even when the water pipe is broken. Wow, that was all over the place. Bengt. I don't know how to say it, Bengt. It's a good question. AI is definitely coming for photography. It's coming for everything. It's very difficult to get the AI to react to, well, I can't say it's very difficult, but let's say they're in the third base dugout and they have to react to the ball going to the outfield. They probably have a good understanding that if the ball was hit, they could tell the trajectory and the computer could tell it where to point the camera and maybe they can get the picture. I think we'll see technologies like that, but I don't think you're ever taking away the human element from photojournalistic stuff. Maybe from portraits, you'll still be able to do it. But just like at the dawn of photography, there were very few people doing it. And then Kodak comes along and offers a brownie, offers a box with 100 pictures in it, and you send it back in the roll, and then they send you another camera back. And then people were like, well, autofocus and all this stuff is killing photography, and there's going to be no need for pros. Some people just can't take a picture, guys, regardless of all the technology in the world. So I don't feel like we're going anywhere. Certain things are going to evolve and change, but there's still going to be a necessity for reacting in the photojournalistic world and in sports. And yeah, I still think you will see cameras that will be able to track subjects on the field and do that. Will they be able to make the split-second decisions that we make? Maybe. We'll have to see. Will they be able to run on the field at the end of the game to get that stuff? Probably not, as of at least right now, but it's going to happen. At some point, it will get there, but I don't think we will be fully replaced. Dave Zabarakil got into photography about 1.5 years ago. I enjoy shooting both film and digital. I'm a Canon mirrorless guy because of you. That's right. Back up that money truck. Beep, beep. Thank you. You hear that, Canon? I do really enjoy shooting film, though. I like the process, the stocks, and stocks means film stocks, and I think it makes me more intentional as a photographer. It absolutely does. I also started developing my own and scanning my negatives. I do 35 and 120, but eventually want to do 4x5 similar to you. I've heard you critique film shooters in the past, but I want to know if you find this legit. Love the content, Dave from Duluth. Dave, I think you're on the right path. I 100% wholly agree with someone who wants to try and shoot film, who takes it to the extreme of shooting the film, processing the film, scanning the film, and sharing the film. When you go through the entire process, 100% I am behind you. When you don't go through the process and you want to shoot film with a shitty point and shoot because you think it's cool, send the film to a lab, get the negatives scanned at the lab, tell the lab to throw out your negatives because you don't need them because you have the scans, then I tell you to go fuck yourself. You don't care about shooting film. In that situation, I don't agree with it at all. So that's why I'm harsher on those people that just, look, if you want to get into shooting film and you want to learn the old school way of shooting with a manual camera and you go through that process, even if you send your film out and get them scanned, totally okay with it because you're going through the process. At least get your negatives back. That's like throwing away your RAW files because you have small JPEGs that you edited and you don't think you need the RAW files anymore. So keep that in mind. But you don't have to go through the entire process. But if you just feel that you want to try what we did back in the day, regardless what age you are, go for it. You're shooting with intent. But if you're a Xennial, Millennial, anybody, Gen Z, and you just want to sit, I said that, Xennial, Gen Z, and you just want to take shitty pictures and get them processed and never get negatives and just show off and think you're cool, that I draw a line at. But with what you're doing, sir, Dave, I'm totally fine with, because you're going through the entire process, and I commend you and I applaud you for doing that. All right, next up, Anoop, there it is, Chaudhry. Anoop, there it is. Oh, wait, I'm thinking Snoop, there it is. Wait, what am I doing? Whoa, Whoop, there it is, right? Yeah, that's right. Womp, there it is. Anoop, there it is, Chaudhry. My question is regarding small compact cameras. I am citing Canon. I guess he's shooting with a Canon R5, is RF lenses, and the setup is big. So for short trips, I bought a Fuji X-T30i2 and RX35 millimeter f2 lens and returned it the very next day because of small LCD screen and trashy viewfinder. No fucking shit, Anoop. Kindly throw some light on compact setup that has better viewfinder and back LCD screen. Thanks. Well, this is a great question for me to yell at you, Anoop, because this is the thing that I constantly say and hammer home these days with more and more of these point and shoots. The RX1 R3 and any of the point and shoots. When I used to sell cameras at Allen's Camera, a photographer would come in and that is a pro because they shop there, and they go, I'm going on this trip, but I don't want to take my camera because it's heavy and I want something really good quality in a point and shoot. What do you recommend? And I'm like, I don't. And they're like, what? I'm like, take your real fucking camera. And people look at you like you're weird. I'm like, you bought this other camera, pick a lens, take that camera with you. It's not that much bigger. A shitty point and shoot is going to be shitty, and you're not going to be happy with the results. And this was before cell phones were really taken off. I mean, had good cameras. But even that, I wouldn't use a cell phone if I'm trying to capture the moments. Yeah, if I'm just going on somewhere and I want to take a shitty picture, but I never look at them again. So the answer is there is nothing. Well, I think the greatest travel camera ever. I mean, Steven likes his RX100 6, right? But it has an okay EVF. It has a smaller sensor. That's a fun camera to take around. But you're spending a lot of money for that. I still feel like there's two cameras that Sony offers that are incredible. You want best bang for your buck. You want the best quality, but in a small package. And you could still put lenses on it. The A7C2 is, in essence, an A7 IV. Everything about it is the A7 IV, except it has better autofocus because it has the AI processor, if I recall. Or the A7CR, which is the camera I recommend for people who are thinking of getting the RX1R III, because it's the same camera, only better, and $2,000 less. So my recommendation when you are traveling, my favorite camera for me on the Canon front is the Canon R8. You already own Canon gear. You already have lenses. I think the R8 for $1,000 or $1,200 is one of the greatest point and shoot cameras ever made. I do wish they would update it to match things like the Sonys have done, right? I like the compact size, but allow me to take the full battery of the R5 so that you can have reverse compatibility with that camera you already have and better battery life, and put IBIS in it. But at that point, we're calling it an R6 Mark III, and those are the trade-offs. So there's always a trade-off. I would forego the image stabilization. No. Would I rather have image stabilization over the bigger battery? Yeah. So I would say that. But yeah, look at the R8 personally as a camera to take around. Stop trying to cheap out and think you're going to get great quality. Next up, Gern Blanston. We had a Noop, we had a Gern, and we had a Bent, B-E-N-G-T. Let's see. I shoot RAW on the Sony A7R5, big files. I shoot large uncompressed, and my current average shot size is 50 megabytes, which is actually wrong. Because if you're shooting an A7R5, that is 61 megapixels. When I was shooting a Sony A1 uncompressed, that's 50 megapixels, and every RAW file uncompressed was 100 megs. So I think you're either shooting compressed RAW. You're saying large uncompressed. I kind of think you might be shooting compressed if you're getting 50 megabytes, which is already small, smaller than what it would be uncompressed. I'm taking large billboard size. You dig, he says. I shoot professionally, low light, fast action, people, puppies, kitties, flamingos, llamas, the whole schmear. With unrealistic turnaround times and expectations to provide limited hard drive space, I am offered online storage But to me, it's slow, and Lord knows how safe the cloud is. I mean, I'm cool with storing in the cloud and on location as well. Other than that, things are great, and I'm grateful to be gainfully employed and underscore job play, whatever this says. Oh, undisclosed job place. Having said that, rumor has it I might switch to the Sony R3. I don't know why you would ever step down, which overall would reduce my individual file size production, which in theory would reduce my storage needs. However, if in fact I do own a sweet Sony A9 III, he keeps saying R3. I think he's just saying the wrong stuff because there's so many different cameras that I think he might have. No, he's saying an A7 R5. If he hasn't, and there is no A7 V, so I'm just going to stick with the other stuff. So he's talking about shooting the A9 III now. Every once in a while, again, I'm going to send it full throttle, wide open, whole hog, 120 frames per second with 2-minute pre-capture. Well, there's no such thing as 2-minute pre-capture. He says hidden bulb Easter egg setting. Is it there? I have no idea. Thus, I'm going to need to colon quick fast with no regards into closing. I'm going to need a solid naming, calling keyword, saving, backup delivering, and archiving system to get the most out of my rumored Sony. I don't know, dude. This was all over the place. I meant to cut that question down, but I already read it. So I'm just going to say this. There's nothing wrong with uncompressed RAW. I fought it for a long time. Sorry, for compressed large RAW. Lossless. Lossless compressed. It says lossless in the name. I don't think you'll ever notice a difference between lossless and uncompressed. The moral of the story is don't shoot as many photos potentially. And for storage needs are continuing to grow time and time again. So storage keeps getting larger, files get bigger, but the storage keeps getting larger, and that's really it. One of the things I'm starting to do with my keepers from a shoot is uploading them to the cloud separate. I'm not throwing out any RAW files as of yet, but it might be at that point where you go through and you pick the best of the best with honor, sir. But I still have that fear that somewhere down the road in like 5 years, I go back looking for something and I'm like, shit, I deleted that, but it would have been a good picture. Because sometimes when you go back with fresh eyes, things look better. All right, Rudy Rivas. When are you going to make another video about general photography? Why did you stop? People need to see scribbling exposure calculations again. I still make general photography videos. Case in point, the James Blunt video last week was a freaking solid video. I talk about the scribbly stuff without doing the actual scribbly stuff, and that stuff turned out, and it's a really good video. Part of the issue is people don't get served those videos from YouTube as often. So when you put up the educational videos, they don't get seen, and they really upset me because we spend a lot of time to make them good only for them not to be seen. On the flip side, I want to put all of that content into an educational guide that I sell, so I don't want to blow my load on just giving it all away, which I've already given it all away, but putting it all into a new package with updated stuff is where I'm leaning to, because I can at least generate revenue from there. And then over time, I will make shorter educational videos that feed people from a marketing standpoint into the funnel to try and purchase the guide. That is the goal, that we can continue to make money and keep going. John Becker. All right, we got about like 6 more. John Becker III. Why don't you film RAWtalk anymore? And if you could go back, would you still have stopped RAWtalk when you did? There's multiple reasons for this. One reason was I didn't like how I acted on the show. We had Todd on the show, super funny, the comedic element on it. And then, he'd act like an asshole in a comedic way. And then I would try to match his assholeness. And then I'd come across like an asshole because I'm like, he can't asshole me. And so I didn't like how I was coming across. Another reason was we were trying to get out our presets, the very first Fro pack, and it was holding us back because Steven was taking the time. He had to be on the show. Then the show had to be edited. And we needed to focus our time to do that because, like I just said in the question before, we needed to make money. We need to make money in order to sustain the business and employees and growth and to feel okay. And RAWtalk just felt like a place where we weren't generating revenue and we were spending a lot of time. Looking back, I wish we could have done it all and continued, because we were actually getting good views each week. And I didn't realize, even when back in the day, getting the listens of like 15 to 20,000 listens per episode was really fucking good in an era where I had nothing to gauge it with. So I didn't know that it was successful, and who knows if it would have continued to grow and maybe do 50 or 100,000 an episode and you can sell ads towards it. But I think the ads are really terrible on podcasts. But hindsight's 2020. you could look back and be like, yeah, I mean, it would have been great if we could have done the show in the way that we did it, but I felt like it was hindering our ability to make other content. Whether I'm right or wrong, it was a lot of work to weekly do a show. And it took the whole team. It took Dan doing the live editing. It took Steven. It took me. It took Todd. And it was a whole day process. And then it had to be, we did it live. But I wonder if we would still do, I don't think we would end up doing it live. I think the live was too much of an issue, but I think the live edit is the most important thing. So being able to live edit and have it done, but we also lost a little bit when we did it live versus recording the audio, because Steven has a way of making the show sound better, taking out extremely long pauses, and that becomes more difficult when it comes to editing the video and more time consuming. If I had an outside source that would, do just that edit each week, maybe it would have continued. But yeah, I mean, if the numbers would have been great, which they were very good, 20, 30,000 on YouTube is very good for an hour-long plus podcast. So I don't think we're going to film again, but what's crazy is in a world where podcasts are super popular and the biggest thing since sliced bread now, I still think video podcasts are terrible. I think our video podcast was different because we made it like a show. We had visuals to show. It wasn't just AI cutting from whoever's talking. It was done in a way that was more cinematic because we had 6 cameras rolling. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that I wish we would have continued. There were some things with Todd that things change over time and evolve, and it just didn't feel like we were making money with the show. And yeah, not everything is about money because you will get return long term. It just was at the time didn't feel right. Now we get like half the listens now that we did on YouTube. I know that like Petapixel has their podcast. I don't know what their numbers are for their audio downloads. You could see the numbers on the front end on YouTube, which are higher than what ours look like. Ours are just 2,000 or 3,000 roughly for just audio because we don't put up the video. But I don't feel that there's value to the video that podcasters are doing where they just sit there and it's done through something like Riverside, and it's just auto edited and it's just auto cuts. I guess people still watch it, but to me, I want to do a higher value thing. So we haven't done it. That's what happened there. Okay. Brett Shapiro, back button focus, thumbs up or down? 100% thumbs down. Quick and dirty to it. Why have 2 fingers have to do things when my index finger can be focus and shooting at the same time? It's such an old school way of shooting, in my opinion, that I don't agree with doing it now. I think splitting up your focus with your back button and your shutter with your front button is just dumb, because now you have to do 2 movements. Your brain has to do an extra thing. Your fingers have to do an extra thing. So why would I have to hold the button in the back if I want continuous autofocus and then press the shutter when I want to take the picture? I get releasing it and having it being locked, having it being where it was, but there's other ways we can do that quicker or differently that I think is more efficient, and I just think it's better to have everything tied to the one button. Jimmy Ferguson, has shooting 4x5 given you a better understanding of light when approaching a scene? And has it also deepened your appreciation for the tools we have now, like IAF and others? Well, going back to the 4x5, yeah, I mean, well, first off, I have more of an appreciation, sure. It's great to be able to know that I am capable of going back and doing it. Whereas in the past, you're like, well, I wonder if I could go back and do it. Like when I first started, I never used a fully manual camera. I was afraid to. And I had a Canon EOS Elan, EOS, they told me it's EOS Elan 2E, and I put it on running man mode, which meant I was shooting auto for years because I was afraid, like I couldn't do it. Nowadays, I 100% can go back and do it in my sleep. I can shoot Big Bertha exactly as I shoot Big Bertha. I can shoot the 4x5 without a problem, completely manual, autofocus, no autofocus, shutter speed, aperture, and controlling it all myself is great. Now, do I think it gives me a better understanding of light? The answer to that is no. I just understand light after 31 years of shooting. So I feel out the lighting situation. I know what my exposure is based off of my light meter on my phone. And then if it gets brighter, I know exactly what to do. I have a feel for how many stops of light it changed, and I just change my aperture. And then I counter that by changing my aperture again when the light goes down, or because I only have 3 shutter speeds. So it's a feel. right? And also, if you're off by a stop or two in the negative, it's perfectly fine. You can bring it back. It's like a RAW file. There's so much data there that you can totally bring it back and make it work. Good question, Jimmy. John Elrod, what do you think is the best overall lens to take on a trip to document the damage done to an area? Like, for example, the recent East Texas flooding, or how about the war in Ukraine? Well, one, I don't want to be in the war in Ukraine. There's two choices. I think a 28-70 f2 is one of the most incredible lenses for all around for photojournalistic work. It's not going to reach out and grab the subject because it's not super long. If you want the most versatile, a 24-105 Canon 2.8 is going to be incredible because that's going to give you everything, a 24 all the way to 105 and everywhere in between, from portraits to something a little more telephoto to wide angle at 24. I like the 28-70 for the look. I think the look is much better, but no one's going to be like, oh, the look of that 105 is terrible. So those would be the two lens choices. No, take a point and shoot. Take a point and shoot, you know. David Schranberg, I just finished listening to the audio commentary on book 2. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know you have stated you're not sure if you will do another book since it's such an ordeal. So my question is, if you were to do a book 3, what do you think would be the subject material? And 12% of a happy birthday to Stephen. That is a deep pull for anybody that's listening to RAWtalk for a long time would know that Stephen gets paid 12%. He doesn't really get paid 12%, but that's a deep pull. This is a good question. The one that stands out in my mind repeatedly is the baseball 4x5 project. And I was thinking about this last night. Those images could turn into a book very easily right now. I would need to partner with someone in Major League Baseball to allow me to do that. I don't think I need their permission to create a book because it's art, but that runs the risk of being like, well, we'll never give you a pass again. So if I go through the proper channels and figure out a way to make it work, they might allow it to happen. Last night, I was thinking of contacting the Baseball Hall of Fame, which, let me make a note, Baseball Hall of Fame, base BHOF, because I have an idea. I was actually texting with Randy Johnson last night. I got to talk to Ken Griffey Jr. because I believe that the induction ceremonies are coming up for the Hall of Fame again. But I have an idea, and that involves Big Bertha. That involves my 4x5. That involves another camera. I want to get the Big Bertha is built off of a home portrait camera SLR, which means the mirror flips out of the way, so it's much easier to handhold and focus. And it's older, so it's from the 1912 to the 1943 or 48 was when it was manufactured through. So if I can pick up one of those, I might start shooting that handheld on a field and see how I do. So that's just a matter of winding the shutter, figuring out focus and clicking because you see what you're shooting. That I would like to do. Ah, you scared the shit out of me, Siri. You son of a bitch. Holy fuck, I just got the chills because she scared the shit out of me. I didn't ask for you. Holy fuck, guys. I wonder if you heard her. That scared the shit out of me. I thought there was a woman behind me. Are you behind? There is nothing behind me. Holy goddamn, that scared me. I would think that, like, teaming up with the Hall of Fame to do a history of photography type thing with a documentary series, with a book, and with a gallery exhibit at the Hall of Fame would be absolutely fantastic. Big ass prints, showing what I've done in the modern era with the old cameras, but also then having some of the old cameras shown there, like a museum piece, you know, for a short amount of time. And then also having historical images there that were shot with certain cameras and kind of going through the history of sports photo with the old film cameras. We're talking 4x5s and Big Berthas and stuff would be awesome. That would be something I would consider to do a book, a documentary, and a Hall of Fame exhibit. And I'm going to pursue that. I have a note. So that's what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 more. Let's see. Joe Martello, for someone just starting out, do you recommend having a single Lightroom catalog? The answer to that is 100% yes. One Lightroom catalog, not 27. I got this directly from the people that build Lightroom, the developers of it, said they have a catalog with over 2 million photos and it is perfectly fine. Every once in a while, you need to go in there and delete the previews folder, you know, just because there's a lot of old previews that you may never use from, say, 2 years ago that just should be wiped out. It clears clears up space, but it also speeds things up, but it also slows things down because when you go back to a folder to find an image, it has to rebuild a preview potentially to allow you to see it. But with computers getting faster and faster, that time gets cut down further and further, which reminds me I need to update. I have a new computer sitting here for 3 months and I need to transition to using it. I just worry about whatever. I just need to do that. So the answer is one big catalog. Ralph Zabalisky. As a full RAW shooter myself, I am a full RAW shooter, but watching some other influencers that shoot wildlife photography, they often shoot C-RAW. Having the R5 Mark II, I shoot full RAW. Understanding that shooting lots of frames for wildlife, they shoot C-RAW for buffer-related reasons to keep the shots running. That's bullshit. What are your thoughts on C-RAW? I always feel that if I compress even slightly, I will lose out. I personally wouldn't use C-RAW. I don't buy into that it's a buffer savings thing. We have plenty of fast buffer. Just don't shoot so many goddamn photos in a row. You should never be holding your shutter down for 2 seconds to shoot. Even if you're shooting wildlife, you do bursts and the cards are fast and the cameras are fast at getting the files off the camera into the card, and you don't have a problem from there. I wouldn't shoot C-RAW. If it was a choice between JPEG and C-RAW, I would shoot C-RAW. But I wouldn't do it. I shoot lossless, compressed RAW files, and I just deal with it at this point. Daniel Hodridge. How do you get over imposter syndrome in photography? I have a constant feeling it's not enough when charging clients. You get over it. And you just have to accept it. I have imposter syndrome. I still feel it from time to time. Like, how am I in this room with these people? But they might be sitting there considering me to be one of the experts, at which I am, and they might be saying the same thing to themselves. How am I in this room? You just do. You just block that fucking shit out of your head and you fucking do it. If you feel you're charging too little, raise your price the next time. And if no one balks at your price, that means you've basically done it for too little. So consider that. But you have to, it's a delicate dance, right? You have to feel confident and comfortable that you're not overdoing it, but it's commensurate to what the market offers or what your value is. So you just have to literally get over it. Eric Stickna. What makes a pro camera pro? There are consumer versions and pro versions that have similar statistics, yet one is deemed as pro level. Well, a lot has to do with weather sealing. A lot has to do with build quality, the materials used, the shutter type. The shutters are built better, at least back in the day when you would have a pro camera, you would get more. They'd be built for 200,000 or 250,000 shutter actuations, where a consumer might be 50,000 actuations. So that it might have a better Kevlar shutter. Like, certain things are just built better. Better processors, more speed, better weather sealing, like I already said. So a lot of it is that. You're paying for the technology, the best of the best with honor, sir, and reliability. That's really the difference. And Michael McLaughlin, when is it appropriate to put a signature logo on your photos? It's a good question. I used to do it all the time, bottom left corner. It's a hard one to say. I mean, if on social media you want people to see it, we don't do it on Instagram. We used to do it on Facebook. We used to do it on Flickr, so that if someone took it, they could take your, they couldn't steal your image. Nowadays, AI is going to get rid of your watermark without a problem, but I don't see it as that. I mean, I don't know if you're doing, it's very hard. It's a hard decision to make. On your own personal website, I wouldn't put a watermark. If you're sharing images and people are going to be sharing it and you want the credit and you want people to notice your mark, then I would consider doing it. But it is certainly a tougher decision to make today because you don't see it that often. But when you're posting the images on social, maybe Facebook, or giving it to someone, you'd be like, you know what? This helps me, but just don't make it gaudy and don't make it over the top so that people, get distracted or annoyed by it. But definitely do not put it on your own website. So that's all I got for questions. I know that Steven is waiting for me upstairs with his pants off. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. We have 2 videos to film today. There's a lot of stuff to get done, so I want to get to that. That's why he's working on setting that up. I'm working on doing this episode, and I appreciate you guys listening. So I think Steven's back next week, and he's not on vacation until August something. So there's that. We appreciate you guys listening. If you have any feedback, like, what do you think about RAWtalk? I know we're not going to bring back the video portion, and it's second guess. Believe me, I second guess killing that stuff in the past before too. But A lot of it was the stress of doing the show. I didn't like how I acted. The other thing was I ended up doing Photo News Fix instead of RAWtalk. Oh, that was it too. That Photo News Fix ended up being a 6 to 8 minute episode. Well, at the beginning it was 4.5 minutes. Now it's like 6 or 7. And I felt like that's all RAWtalk was getting the news out. And I felt that the news videos did better than the RAWtalk episodes. But when you do think about it, there's two people. Some people will watch or listen to an entire episode of RAWtalk that's an hour long. Some people just want the news. So the problem also became we would use the good title for RAWtalk and then Photo News wouldn't do well. And then you realize you could do a really good title for Photo News Fix and it would do really well. And then you had to come up with something different for RAWtalk. Ideally, in a perfect world, we would have been able to just say RAWtalk episode 12, RAWtalk episode 13, and people would just tune in every week, and you didn't have to clickbait it or put on a super solid title to hopefully get people to notice it and see it. So that dives in a little deeper. So that's it, guys. That's episode 161. You can text us at 313-710-9729. I appreciate you listening to this episode. And as always, if you get this far to 161, leave a comment on YouTube that says, I got this far in 161, or text me with your thoughts on anything that I have here or questions that you have. Just don't make it a novel. Keep it brief and to the point and say, I finished 161. Here's my thoughts, and go from there. So thank you guys very much for listening. Jared Polin. I have to go get more oxygen because I get tired from doing the episode because I never take a breath during this. It's a 48-minute long breath that I didn't take. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. See ya.